Hi, Paul Slackers, Good News Planet, speaking to Jim Morelli. Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm excellent. How you doing?
Okay, good. You know why I'm excellent, Jim?
Why is that?
Because I somehow survived the cold. And a cold is not a good thing to have. So we're going to talk about colds and the flu season and about some of the good things that I know you know about that you want to share with our audience. Tell us about this, because it's a serious, actually, health condition.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just colds. I mean, we get 1 billion colds per year in the United States, 1 billion of them. You know, almost everybody gets affected by a cold. But the thing that I think most people worry about is, am I going to get the flu this year? And last week the CDC declared it to be National Influenza Vaccination Week. And the reason they did that was because they wanted to remind everybody that, look, there is still plenty of time to get the flu vaccination, because flu season peaks January to March. And if you get it now, it's pretty ideal, because we need about 2 weeks to build up our immunity from the vaccination. So if you haven't gotten one, that is your #1 best protection against the flu. And I think the great thing is there are so many retail outlets where you can get the flu vaccination now. If you go to the CVS pharmacy, you don't need an appointment. Your insurance will likely cover the flu vaccination. And to boot, they're going to give you a 20% off shopping pass, which is a great thing to have this time of year. So there's an incentive, as if the flu wasn't enough of an incentive, which for many people I know it is, because you can be really miserable with the flu.
Well, that's a great opportunity. So CVS is giving, actually, in addition to giving the shot, they're able to help you with a little discounts on what's going on. And what a great store. They got a ton of stuff in there.
20%. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge shopping pass. Yeah.
Excellent. They just put one across the street from us here.
Excellent. You can stock up.
There you go. So, you just brought up a very interesting point that I didn't know. So you need 2 weeks for a flu shot to take effect?
You get a little bit of instant immunity, but then, yes, because the way that vaccinations work is you challenge your body with something, and then our bodies build up antibodies to it. So that takes a little while, about 2 weeks. They used to think it was longer than that, 4 to 6 weeks, but it's about 2 weeks. That's when you get your optimal immunity. And someone asked earlier whether or not, flu vaccination from last year will linger into this year. To some extent it will, but don't forget that every year the flu vaccination strains change. So the vaccination changes, so you may not be protected from the flu this year if you got the vaccination last year. You got to get the new one.
Jim, and how about if you had a cold? Some people wonder if they have a cold already, can you still get the flu shot?
Yes, absolutely you can. The flu vaccination does not cause flu. It is a killed virus. It is not going to cause the flu. So yes, you definitely can get it even if you have a cold. And by the way, it brings up a good point about the difference between cold and flu. How do you know what you have? Well, one of the ways you can tell is that a cold is usually symptomatic from the neck up. So we're talking about, runny nose, itchy eyes, sneezing, some coughing is possible as well, perhaps a mild sore throat. Fever is a sign that perhaps it might be the flu, especially if it's accompanied by body aches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, the chills. That would more indicate the flu. But even then, you're not really sure what you have, because there's so many things that can mimic the flu. And that's why it's very important, if you get these overall symptoms that I talked about, that you see a doctor or go to the emergency room and make sure that they test you to see whether or not you have the flu. The tests that they run, some of them are what we call subjective tests, meaning they'll take a nasal swab and they'll look at the result and they'll make an educated guess about whether or not you have the flu. Problem is, sometimes that guess is wrong. But now we have a definitive diagnostic system that doctors can have in their offices, and it's called the BD Veritor system. I mean, this is an amazing advance here. And what this does is you get a nasal swab taken, and within 10 minutes, you get an absolutely definitive answer: do I have the flu or do I not have the flu? And why is this so important? Well, it's important because pneumonia can mimic the flu to some extent. If you've got pneumonia, you need an antibiotic, absolutely. But if you've got the flu and no pneumonia, an antibiotic will not do any good. So you'll waste money on the antibiotic, plus that'll contribute to this whole problem we have of antibiotic resistance. This, to me, is a public health advance. That's where this is going.
Give me the name of that again. This is big time. I agree with you. What is that?
It's called
Say that again to me.
It's called
what is
the
it?
BD Veritor. Veritor meaning truth. Veritor. And this is just something that it's something that's much more advanced than what we've got now. So this is a real, it's a game changer. It really is.
I'm asking my doctor today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should be asking their doctor. That's a good one. What else? Is there any other things that we should know about this?
Well, yeah, the flu vaccination is going to take you so far, and in terms of keeping you healthy, and then you kind of have to pick up the rest of it yourself. And one of the key things that you need to be doing, it's such obvious advice, but it's good advice, and that is to make sure you've got excellent hand hygiene. It's got to be impeccable this time of year, which means more frequent hand washing. Any soap will do, and warm water is fine. Hand sanitizers, totally fine. They dry the skin out a little bit, so make sure you rub in a moisturizer as well after you use them. But these things will help you to ward off the flu because viruses survive on surfaces. That's one way we get them. And then the other way is airborne. When people cough or they talk to us, the particles, we can breathe them in, and that's how we get sick. Other things you can do, make sure you're getting a little extra sleep in the wintertime. Even an hour is better than nothing. That helps our immune systems. And let's watch our diet. Next couple of weeks, all we're going to be doing is watching our diets go astray. But if you can possibly get yourself to the point where you're at least conscious that you're supposed to have 2 to 4 servings of fruit a day, 3 to 5 servings of veggies, that's what the USDA is saying. And if you can't get those, you can switch to a convenient alternative, and that's juice. And I got a great example here of Old Orchard. It's called Fruit and Veggie Blends. These are great because they contain all those things we're supposed to eat, sweet potatoes, beets, but it doesn't taste like that because it also has blueberry, pomegranate, peach, mango. They taste good, and one glass will actually give you a full serving of fruit and a full serving of vegetables. It comes as a frozen concentrate, and you can get it at Walmart. It's a little less than $1.50 per can. So it's a great option to have on hand all year round, really, but especially cold and flu season. You want to have antioxidants inside, so it's a good thing to check out.
Now, these juice bars have become also as well, just everything is, but I'll tell you, they're quite hefty on the expense. So this sounds like a good thing here.
Very economical way to go for juice.
There you go. All right, Jim, you all got good things going on here. What else?
Well, I want to talk about going to work sick because this is one of those things that, people just do it and they shouldn't be doing it. There was a survey that came out in the Boston Globe. It found 90% of the people who said that they were sick and knew they were sick still went to work. And this is a terrible thing to do because you're spreading around germs, and there is an alternative for most people. Most people can work from home. Or just rest up and get over whatever it is that's bothering you. You're not going to make any friends at work by coming in sick.
You're right, 100%. Someone once told me when you wash your hands, a lot of people just kind of boom, bang, somebody said you should sing happy birthday to yourself.
Well, there is actually a recommended time is 15 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So 15 to 20 seconds, lather up, rinse it off. And, my wife works in a hospital. She's a maternity nurse, and she is constantly hand sanitizer, washing her hands, because she's around little babies, infants. And for her, it's second nature. So even at home, she does that because she does it all the time. But for many of us, it's a habit we have to pick up. And, some of us can pick it up and some of us don't. But if you think about the fact that anything you touch could have viruses on it, maybe that'll get you a little more into the idea of washing your hands.
There you go. Jim, what's good news for you?
Good news for me is that I'm feeling great, and I don't have the flu or a cold, and I'm heading home.
Okay.